I'm Ann Scalo, and I'm proud to serve on SMIF's Board of Trustees.
And I'm Bob Albright. I'm proud to serve with you. I'm also a trustee here. So together we're a mob. We both have dark glasses, and why you don't have yours. Wonder about that. Hey, quick round of applause for Main Street Harmony, who let us in today. And I hope you're enjoying this beautiful venue here. It's the 310 Events venue here in Faribault, and welcome tonight, where we'll be celebrating 4 decades of people, communities, and partnerships that are who makes us special here in Southeast Minnesota and across the southern border of Minnesota. Game.
You know, a fun fact about the band over here, board member Greg Sheebert is in the band. Where'd Greg go? There's Greg. Round of applause for Greg, the board member, and you and his family tonight. Thank you so much.
All right, well, we'd like to kick things off by inviting our presenting sponsor to say a few words. So I'd like to invite David Olson up from the Black Ridge Group at Morgan Stanley. Come on up. Welcome, David.
Thanks, Bob, and welcome, everyone. Bob mentioned, my name is David Olson. I'm with the Black Ridge Group at Morgan Stanley, and we're honored. We consider it an absolute honor to be a sponsor for tonight's celebration of 40 years. When I got the mail the other day, and I had received the 40th year celebration material, Benya has an article there about carrying the legacy forward. And I love her positive energy. And I love what she said. She said that in the summer of 2025, I stepped into an organization, to lead an organization that's older than I am. And just for the record, I can't say that. But as a matter of fact, my daughter gave me on my last birthday a card and it said, "I'm not saying you're old, Dad, but if you were wine or whiskey, you'd be really expensive." So I guess I come at this from a little bit different perspective based on age alone. I was introduced to the Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation through longtime business partner Bill Hankerson, who was a great friend to the organization for many, many years. Through that invitation, our team has had the privilege of working alongside of SMIF for almost the entire 4-decade journey in serving the region. I personally had a front row seat for a lot of the milestone events that are highlighted in this brochure, and it's been an absolute privilege. To put that in perspective a little bit, when I graduated from college, in the end of that calendar year, December 31st of 1985, right before the inception of the Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation, the Dow Jones average closed at 1,546. Yesterday we closed at 49,490. So that's what 40 years of compounding looks like mathematically. In much the same way, I think the Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation has really done the same thing in the region. They have been compounders. They have compounded goodwill. They've been compounding opportunity, compounding community strength year after year, and steady, quietly, and consistently just bringing value. All the while committing to an academically sound process to help ensure that all the resources that the organization is entrusted with go to work hard for the Southern Minnesota region. The Black Ridge Group's had the privilege of walking beside SMIF for much of this journey, and we've had the opportunity to watch as SMIF grew from the seed that was planted by the McKnight Foundation years ago into something that perhaps the founders dreamed of this, but I sometimes think even they wouldn't have been able to conceive or fully imagine how it ended up. As I look through the pages of the impact report and I see the faces of people across 20 different countries, I'm reminded there's so many contributors, right? The entrepreneurs, early childhood educators, small town dreamers, and I'm just reminded of specific people who poured themselves into this mission over over the years. The staff, the board members, the donors, the community partners, and the families and communities who believed in what was possible. This success doesn't just belong to one organization, it belongs to every one of the people historically who contributed money, time, and resources, and it belongs to each of you in this room. One of my favorite chapters in the history of the Southern Minnesota Mission Foundation was a few years back when we had the Love Where You Live campaign. Simple words, but powerful and profound truth. Like all of you, I truly do love where I live, and I'm proud of where we've come from. And the team that I work with is from Byron, Pine Island, Castlemaine, Plainview, and the region, and we all returned home. I was the first one in my family to have the opportunity to even go to college. I went to St. Olaf in Northfield, one of the communities served by the organization today. And after a brief detour on Wall Street following graduation, I left New York City and came back for one simple reason. This is home. 40 years later, we're all still here. And SMIF is still here. Thriving, by the way. So we're grateful for the years that we've had the opportunity to work with leaders like Tim Penny, whose remarkable and outstanding leadership led to a lot of success. We're excited for the future under Benya's leadership. We've been privileged to work with Brian Gonzalez and a multitude of different organizations and committees and financial committees. And for this reason, I just want to say that it's been an absolute privilege to work with SMIF. Congratulations to SMIF. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you, SMIF, for 40 years of believing in the region, investing in its people, and helping Southern Minnesota become stronger one community at a time. If you would join me, I'd say let's lift the glass. Cheers to the next 40 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. I was thinking about David's remarks, and when you said we didn't know what we created even that long ago, and you are absolutely right. When Virginia McKnight Beaner and Rusty Wall showed up in this region of the state, they did not show up with a plan or a blueprint. They didn't have a strategy paper. They showed up to listen and to really hear and understand what the people in this community said they wanted to do. We wanted to hear about what was the challenges, what were people losing. But more importantly, what we wanted to know is, what do you want to retain? What do you want to hold tightly to? What do you want to offer as you think about your future? And what came out of that, what emerged, wasn't a short-term fix in any form or fashion. It was a long-term commitment to trust local leadership, to stay close to place, and to invest in communities not as problems to solve, but as partners, as assets. And I will tell you, there is no better return than what we made 40 years ago. So thank you so much for all that you have done with SMIF. And as you know, SMIF is one of the MIFs that we were able to support, and they all have grown into really consequential entities all across our state. And what I would say is they've been building the long arc of capacity, so that in moments when there's disruption in our communities, that our communities don't retreat, they rise. And I would say over these last 40 years, what we have seen is that SMIF is not a collection of programs. It is really an infrastructure for our civic life. They help create the meaning, the belonging that we all experience when we live in small towns and in less populous communities. It's the relationship, it's the permanence, it's that quiet, steady work that helps community build the muscle. But not just build that muscle, work it every single day to shape the futures that you deserve and your children. I would also just share, as you all know, this region is so different from 1986. I was around in 1986. I know that Joe Dedden was, because he's one of the original board members for SMIF. But when you think about that, it's a very different place. It's a richer place. It's a more complex place. It's a diverser place. You got new neighbors, new languages, new businesses, new leaders, and I would also surmise some new challenges. The issue here, I would just say, is that we have invested so that you can be able to respond to all of those new things, understanding that the new things are not incidental to who you are. They actually will help define, they are defining who you are today in a different way. And so having the capacity to be able to respond to that, I think, is extraordinarily important. And then I would just also just say, grateful for the way that you have strengthened the civic backbone so that you really can navigate, not with anxiety, but with agency, that you get to show up and shape the way the future is crafted. One of my favorite quotes is, "The future isn't finished." And the reason it is one of my favorite quotes is because it just is a reminder that we decide the future. What we do every single day and what you have done every single day for the last 40 years decided this future, and everything that you do the day after will create all of the prosperity that you deserve. Now, the last thing I would just say is this. At McKnight, we've learned so much being alongside you all. We've learned that one-off investments don't build trust. Disconnected efforts don't build resilience. And what works is showing up year after year. I would say with humility, with patience, and faith in people. But if I were going off the cuff, I would say it's showing up with respect. Understanding the hard work that you've done every single day with awe for the responsibility you've chosen to bear when you already have a plate full. And it's with the deep reverence you have when you know you're around really good people. And so I just want to say thank you to all of you, especially the leaders. Congratulations on your anniversary. It's a reminder to all of us that durable change grows from the ground up, from the people, and from the place, from the people who live in the place. And they fiercely love it, so they fight for it. So congratulations.